guys. I want to welcome Scott Bonnell. He was just on with the kickoff, but I'm excited to hear his talk today, where he's going to be talking about how no one can do everything, but everyone can do something. And I think it's such a powerful message right now. And we started to talk a little bit about that yesterday with people's different passions and stuff like that. But Scott is the founder of Hope to Haiti, where he helps feed, clothe, house, and educate many impoverished children in Haiti. I know at one point they were doing over 1,000 meals a day, and I'm sure it's probably even more than that now. He's invested his life to help like the most impoverished and forgotten people, especially children around the world. And I know firsthand, seeing what Scott has given up at times for other people. And so really incredible to have you on here and to have you part of the team with GHS. And I'm really excited to hear what you have to say.
Great. Thanks, Tim. It's happy Saturday to everybody. It's the event yesterday was great. I'm looking forward to another really good day, hearing from many inspiring people and being motivated and excited for the ripple effect of what we've seen and heard, over this weekend. So I am Scott Bonnell. I am the founder and CEO of Hope to Haiti. That's TO. And so my talk it's kind of been my life motto has been, nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. And my thought is if everybody just did something outside of themselves for the sake of others, we would live in an entirely different world than we do right now. And I was very fortunate to have a fairly successful corporate career for about 19 years. And I left that 13 years ago because I just wanted to, try to make the biggest impact that I could in the world, not even knowing what that meant at that time. I had no clue that journey would lead me to Haiti. And 13 and a half years later, we're still in Haiti. And we just have seen amazing success, in what we're doing. So I'll give you a quick overview about our footprint there. Again, we started in 2007. That was 3 years before the earthquake. And so when the earthquake happened, we had all the infrastructure and we worked logistical support for a lot of organizations that came in. We have built 12 sustainable villages with Frank McKinney, who spoke yesterday, his foundation. We have 4 orphanages, so we house about 160 kids full time. And then our feeding programs, we have about 4,000 kids enrolled, which means some get a meal every day, some get a meal after school, some get meals on the weekend. We just don't have the resources to do that 4,000 a day, every day of the week. But we're trying, And so I guess I want to talk to you about the steps that we can take or you can take, again, to make a difference in the world right where you are. The pandemic happened and, I'm talking to my staff in Haiti and I'm saying we can't find food. We can find food, but we can't find toilet paper. We can't find paper towels, and we're standing in line for this stuff, and people are lining up for food. And my chief of staff says, "Sounds like Haiti." And I went, "Well, it's certainly not as bad, as the conditions there. But for us here in the West, it was just a shake up, kind of a wake up." So you can imagine the other third world countries when the pandemic started and borders were shut down. I was afraid there would be a famine in places like Haiti and countries in Africa because all the borders were closed. We survived, our organization survived, our people all survived. We had several in Haiti with COVID, but fortunately we didn't lose anybody. And so I guess I'll pivot to that for me, when I think I want to be a world changer, I want to make a difference in the world. What can we do? We have these grand ideas of, I want to, end world poverty. I want to end, homelessness. I want to find the solution to the political divide or the racial divide. And that's great. And we think we all have the big, big dreams. The kind of the theme I've had the last several years is just think small. Just don't dream so big. Just think small. Now the vision could be huge. The vision could be, world changing, life changing. But what small step can you take today towards that greater vision? I have many people have said to me over the years that have been to Haiti with me. I've had, I don't know, 1,000 maybe people from the U.S. and Haiti with me over the years. And, I just said, Scott, when I, do X, Y, Z, I want to fund an orphanage, or when I'm able to achieve this level of success in my career, my business, then I want to support, your organization. And I'll go, well, if you have $20 today and can give me that every month, I can keep a kid alive. So I would love for the $1 million donations. I would love for the foundations to pour money on us. We don't have that. We're a totally donor-based organization. But what can you do today? And so when I started in Haiti in 2007, I went for a week. I toured schools. I spoke with community leaders, faith leaders, some government officials, and just began to see the great need they had as far as water and food, education, housing issues, so many things. And I thought, well, what can I do now? So I committed to feeding 5 kids. And for a month, I would send in money to what eventually became my staff to ensure those kids got an education and had access to food. And then the snowball began to happen. You start telling the story. You start showing the pictures. You start doing, public speaking engagements where you can and when you can. And they can demonstrate the results of what you're doing. It can grow. And I never, ever, ever thought we would have or be where we are today when we first started, because I didn't have this huge vision of, I want to change the country. You meet a couple 100 kids and go, I can feed those kids. I can do that. I mean, I've got $20 a month. I've got $100 a month. I can do that. And so I think sometimes we get ahead of ourselves about, when we see injustice or something wrong or something that agitates us or irritates us, and we say, this has to be solved. But what can you do today? I mean, what can you do? A lot of speakers yesterday touched on the political divide and the racial divide in our country and the troubles that we're experiencing and have always experienced, in our country. And the common thread for me that I heard was, let's lay that aside and let's try to work together. Let's just try to, let's try to work together. I'm not here today to try to convince you to feed starving kids or house orphans or anything like that. Hopefully what you glean from what I'm saying today is, what can you do now? What can you do now? My neighborhood that I live in, I've been in the same house for 20 plus years, and all of my neighbors have been there for 20 years or more. And so we're a really tight community. And so on my street, now I live in Tallahassee, Florida, and so we're in the hurricane zone. We've been spared so far this year. But the previous 3 years, we've had 3 major hurricanes come through Tallahassee. Last year, I decided I will never stay in Tallahassee again when a hurricane's coming. Hurricane Matthew or Michael. It was just devastating. Sitting on my back porch watching my neighbor's roof fly off. But we all met in the street, the night before, and we asked, who's staying, who's leaving. You watch my house, I'll watch your house. Who's got chainsaws? Who has a generator? And so in that small thing of connecting with one another, letting each other know that we had each other's backs, we kind of change each other's world. Hopefully that makes sense. Mentor of mine, again, Frank McKinney once said, we all want to change the world. He said, but, so we have this idea of what that is. He said, but when we go to Haiti, his organization works in Haiti, we partner with them to build houses. and we build this house, and we provide this family with clean water or a water filter, with a goat, with a chicken, with a fruit tree. We've changed their world. It's not about us. It's about what we do for the sake of others. That really makes a difference. That really, I think, will shape the future as we move forward. Is what small actionable steps can you take today? Who can you help today? Who can you not share your opinion with on Facebook or Twitter today? And we all have opinions. We all have ideas. We all have political and religious and I guess societal leanings, but just because you have that doesn't mean you need to share that. It's taken me a long time to learn that I don't have to share every thought that comes, in this crazy mind of mine. Some things I should just swallow, for the sake of others. And I think if we could do that as a society, especially, now in the U.S. with everything that's going on, I'm not saying don't speak against injustice. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying some things we don't really need to beat people over the head with because we disagree with them on an issue. I've said this almost every talk I've ever given in the last 20 years. And hopefully you won't find this offensive. It's not meant to be that. But for me personally, I was born in a stable family, good parents, middle class, never lacked for anything, in my life. Never, I can't say when I've had this hard experience in my life, growing up. And I was born in America. I was born male, and I was born white. And there's nothing about me that made any of that happen. That's how my life unfolded. So for me to think that I am better or stronger or smarter or more capable than someone else because they're not that, that's being a fool. That's being an idiot. We are all human beings. And that was a great theme yesterday, that we're all humans. This is about humanity. The summit's all about hope for humanity and hope for the world, not just for the United States. We have speakers from around the world, all kinds of different backgrounds with different perspectives and different ideas. But the central theme is there is hope. I think that's why I named my organization Hope to Haiti. It's not Haiti relief. It's not Haiti empowerment, though we do try to empower Haitians. Our goal is to help people lift themselves out of poverty by providing them resources that they need, so desperately need, to live, to get on with life. And so everybody can do something. It's kind of funny how, like, at least in Tallahassee, again, we're a small town, 260,000 people. We have 3 major universities here, so it's a college town. But around town in local media, I'm known as the Haiti Guy. When people see me, oh, it's the Haiti Guy. And that's cool. And that was not something that I wanted to be branded as, or, when I'm 50, I want to be the Haiti Guy. I want to be feeding kids in Haiti, or in Africa, or, wherever, in Asia. But I've been fortunate enough to be able to do what I do. And I'm very privileged to be able to do what I do. Something that I'm passionate about, something that gets me out of bed in the morning, that kind of drives me daily to talk to people about issues. And again, particularly in Haiti. But many, many countries face that. Our own country has issues with hunger and homelessness. And so we need to address those things as well. So I volunteer, one day a week at the homeless shelter doing counseling. I've done that for a number of years. I have a background in that. And so, I don't want to think that I must, only focus outside of the States. I'm part of the organization called Hunger. It's the outreach program. They're out of Iowa, and they provided they provided 300 million meals to food banks around the United States over the past 15, 16 years. And so I started another organization called Hope to the Hungry, and we've been able to provide, 1 million meals over the last several years to our local food bank, because that's something that I can do. You meet somebody, you get inspired by them, and I've always just done, tell me your story. Why are you doing X, Y, Z? There's a man here in Tallahassee named Rick Carney, a very successful businessman, and he built the Carney Center, which is a homeless shelter here in town. And he also is building communities of little houses for people to move out of the homeless shelter into housing. And with that, they get electricity, and water and internet and a furnished home, and they pay what they can pay. I think the minimum's like $500 a month, but that's it. There's no cable bill, there's no power bill, there's no water bill, any of that. It's all taken care of in that. And so I heard him speak one day, and so I called him, and I said, "Can I get an hour of your time?" And so he graciously allowed me, an hour of his time. And so I just sat down and said, "Tell me why. I want to know the why you're doing what you're doing, because obviously you're a very successful, very wealthy man, very prominent man in this town, with unlimited resources. It seems. Why homelessness? I mean, why is that what makes your heart beat? Why is that what stirs you?" And he began to unpack his life for me, and share with me that because of his success, he felt, you just have to give back. And homelessness seems to be an issue with solutions. Why we struggle to implement those solutions sometimes, I don't know. So he is attacking that. And it was funny. He said to me, "Well, I thought you were coming asking for, a grant or money for your organization." And I just kind of laughed. I said, "I should have thought of that. But quite honestly, you're a guy that gets stuff done." And I think of myself as a guy that gets stuff done. And I want to spend my life around people that get stuff done, that are doing things, that are making a difference, that are living outside of themselves. I'm a totally selfish, spoiled, iPhone guy, decent house, nice car. I mean, I have all that stuff. So I haven't taken a, Franciscan monk vow of poverty to do what I do, but I'm able to do it. And I've always kind of had that within me of being able to do it. So I guess I will kind of wrap this up with this thought. People ask me the why, and I kind of give them, I'm not really sure why, but I know once I first went to Haiti, and I've traveled the world. I've been in 15 or 16 different countries. I've seen poverty, nothing like the likes of Haiti. And I said, well, here's, where do I start? I always say, well, what irritates you? What stimulates you? What agitates you? What issue? Again, homelessness or racial divide or political divide or, gender inequality. I mean, all that stuff. Lean into that. You don't have to have the solution, but kind of lean into that irritates you, and then do some research. What are people saying? You don't have to, birth the conversation. Join the conversation. Just join the conversation. Keep your ears open and being open to hearing ideas and thoughts that you might not have had before, or thought before. Because the truth is, I don't know where you are or your situation. You can smile at your neighbor, man. I mean, you can rake your neighbor's yard. I've got a widow lady who lives across the street from me. And after the pandemic began, I would go over once a week and just check on her. You doing okay? Do you need anything? She has children, but I'm across the street, so I knew she never did need anything. She could come to me. So I think you just lean into what stimulates you or what catches your attention or what buzzwords or issues you hear, and then go with that. You don't have to run, just step towards, lean into, open your mind. And I think if we did that, and as we move forward in this new season, I like what McKinney said yesterday. It's not a new life or whatever. It's just a different season for us. If we do that, we'll see hope, and we'll be creators of hope. And hope is, man, if you don't have hope, you don't have anything. If you don't have hope, you have despair. And I want to live in hope, man, not despair. So, Wolf, I'll kick it to you. Any questions? Any thoughts?
Yeah, man. Wow, really, really amazing to hear your heart in all of that story. And I know firsthand, about a lot of the amazing work that you do in Haiti, and how much that this is for you, just a part of your life, a part of the thing that it's here for you. And yeah, what was kind of the first moment? I think you went down there during the Haiti earthquake, correct? What was the first moment when you saw the problem that you felt you needed to solve?
Yeah, let me go back to 9/11. I remember that day sitting around the fireplace with my young children. The planes had hit the Trade Center and the Pentagon, and the one had crashed in Pennsylvania. We didn't know if there were more bombs, didn't know if there were more planes, didn't know anything. So I'm speaking words of comfort to my family, but scared inside, fearful for what might be next. And as a result of that, I ended up going to Afghanistan with the medical relief team about 6 months later, serving the Afghan people. And my thought was, I want to wrap my arms around some people different, some Muslims. I come from a Christian Judaic background, and say, I'm your brother, I'm not your enemy. And so one day in clinic, I was there for a month. We had some downtime, and I was talking with my translator to an old Muslim man. I don't know. I mean, he looked 100. He probably was 40, probably my age. And I said, tell me about your life. What are your hopes? What are your dreams? And he said he lived, far away, heard of the clinic, had walked, who knows, hours. And he said, in my village, we're eating grass and we're waiting to die. And my soul did this. And I just began to cry. I don't have any words for that. And I often thought that at this point in my life, I would be in Afghanistan helping some of the poorest people in the world. Then 13 years ago, and again, 3 years before the earthquake, I ended up in Haiti, and I saw starvation again that I'd only seen one time. That was in Afghanistan. And I realized I didn't have to go halfway around the world, that 700 miles off the coast of Miami is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And 1 in 5 children will not live to the age of 5 because of lack of access to food and potable water. And so I said, I got Afghanistan in my backyard. It's right here. And so that's kind of the shift happened on 9/11. I mean, as crazy as that might sound, it's been 20 years ago. But living out that has began 13 years ago. Earthquake, Wolf, we got in 2 days post-quake. 300,000 people had been killed. The smell of death was overwhelming. We wore masks because it's amazing how today I can, in an instant, bring that smell back. It's there. It's permanently engraved. That's why I got a therapist today. It's probably why I drank. But yeah, I mean, it's just that I can leave my office in Tallahassee 9 o'clock in the morning and be in my office in Haiti at 2 p.m. that afternoon. It's easy travel. And I've got a great staff, and we do. They're all Haitian. I have no American staff. They need the jobs. Right. And so again, we're changing that world, and we're bringing them hope because we're empowering them and enabling them. I'm not their boss. I'm their partner. I tell them all the time, we are doing this together. Now, of course, you count on our organization for the funds to do what we do. But so I just think that, man, it's just that glimmer of him. We worked with the Starkey Foundation years ago fitting deaf schools with hearing aids. And when you see a child hear for the very first time, and they get that thing dialed right in, and they say something to them, that's the kid's eyes spark. I cried for a week. It was overwhelming. And I'm thinking, like, this foundation, these people that have these resources, aren't buying junk, man. They're traveling the world, helping people hear. Their motto is so the world may hear. And so it's people like that I've seen that just are in this community, in this field, giving back and doing for the sake of others, not looking for their names on plaques or trophies or awards or anything like that. That's what motivates me, and that's what stimulates me. Being around people that get stuff done. And that's why I hope the summit will inspire people to do something, because everybody can do something, man.
Yeah, man. I love that, and I loved how you talked about, like, everyone comes out and we talk about, like, changing the world, right? But hey, it all starts here, right? It all starts inside. Like, change yourself and you change how, what the world reflects back to you. But also that, like, the things in your own backyard, like, if you can't solve those, how are you gonna solve a global problem?
Right.
And I think that's so important. We miss, there's, I'm not saying you can't, jump the train, but, like, if you really want to learn and you really want to make an impact, I mean, just in your own backyard, there's always things. And I love that. I love that concept. And I think a lot of people, even, in politics, we all get focused on the president, right? Who, yes, that position is really important, but ultimately the person who affects your day-to-day life is actually, like, your city council.
Right.
And you're like state legislature that no one cares to vote for. So it's just really interesting to me to think about that perspective. It's like, everything on the grander scale is like a sum of what's happening
right.
in a smaller scale. And so yeah, finding the thing that's right for you, but you don't need it to be the biggest splash.
Right.
It's like just doing something. And I really love that. And the truth is, for you, I know you have made a big splash. I mean, you've got 4,000 kids, and, like, even though that can be, that may seem like a drop in the bucket too, with everything going on in the world, but in those kids' lives, like, you've saved their life,
right.
And that's, or at least been a part of it. And that's really incredible. Yeah. What, any final thoughts about where people can really, like what's the feeling that they can feel to know that, like, hey, I got to do something about that?
Again, man, I think the key is we all have hot button issues, or things that we see, things that we know are wrong, or I remember the first time I saw a guy. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia. This has been 27 years ago, with "We'll work for food" sign I'd never seen that before. And I cried all the way home. I'd never seen that before. And I think things like that, it's been the small, bumps in my life that have led me to do what I'm doing now with Hope to Haiti. But, I mean, where can you start? I used to keep water, and I've not done it in a few years. I don't know why I got out of the habit. I used to keep a case of water in my car. And when I would see one of those people, I would just give them a bottle of water. And I'll give them money sometimes. They want to buy beer, then they can buy beer. That's between them and whoever. But I did something, and so I think that's it. Just do something. Yeah, just do something, man.
Yeah. Cool. So where can people find out more about Hope to Haiti and more about what you're doing in the world?
Cool. You go to the website, which is Hope to Haiti. That's TO, not the number 2. Hope2Haiti.com. I'm on Facebook, RS Bonnell. I'm on Instagram, but I think my webpage, Hope to Haiti, has all that link in information. What's funny is the phone number on the website. If you call it, I answer the phone. People always think it's crazy. I went, it's me and my CPA, man. I mean, we're so light, administratively. And so if you get a letter, I put it in the envelope.
Just call it lean.
That's the only thing about me that's lean.
You got a lean startup.
But yeah, that's the truth, man. Just check us out. And this is great, Tim. Thanks for the opportunity. Man, I love what we've created here, and I love. I'm looking forward to the day and the weekend.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for being a part of making this a reality as well, and then for showing up in this amazing way on this talk, and really appreciate you and all the work you're doing. So,
Thanks, brother.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Bye for now.